Good
That was
morning and welcome to Sales Chatter, the logistics podcast where we aim to help 10,000 reps hit a million GP. I'm your co-host Ryan Mohammed, and with me is my good friend, President and CEO of RGTX Logistics Solutions, the bodacious cowboy, Jeff Dickinson. How you doing this morning, brother?
morning, my man. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing spectacular, man. I'm excited. After Data Day, I'm pumped. Today we have an amazing guest coming with us. So, what do you think, Jeff?
Well, I'll tell you what, I can't wait to get back into our conversations about empowering women into logistics. It is Women History Month, so we must mention that. So it's all in line. So let's get to it and let's get into the show. Let's go.
Boom.
Welcome to the HPLS podcast. Live, relevant, and high performance information, conversations, and education weekly.
And there we go. Jeff, today we always say this, right? We always have powerhouse women who come on our show and they get to share their story and get to know how we can push the peanut forward. And today we have no exception of that. We have somebody who immigrated here from Armenia to the US, chased her American dream. And the one thing that I was looking and reading on her interviews was that she saw a lot of Hollywood movies and a lot of American movies when she was back home. And she's like, you know what? I want this one day. I want to make this happen. So we do have Lida Habokian, Habokian, sorry, apologies, joining us this morning on Sales Chatter. I know I'm messing up. I was going to get that. But with that being said, let's bring her on. And we're excited to have an amazing jam-packed episode. Want to welcome Lida this morning to Sales Chatter. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah,
So how
so
you
where
doing
were
this?
you, where you out this morning? Where were you about?
Well, I live in South Carolina, so I went to my group gym training. And I'm ready for our good conversation.
All right, let's get it started. What we like to do, we kind of like to start a little bit slow and then we work our way up to the difficult questions. But simply, how did logistics find you, Lida?
Well, I moved to USA, as you mentioned, in the end of 2015, and my husband, he was a truck driver, and I was bored at home, not knowing anyone or not having any friends in a new country. So I said, you know what, let me just go and try to get my CDL. I went to DMV and I got this book and I practiced on my own and I passed these exams. And then he taught me how to drive, and I took the driving test, and the instructor was very nice, and he said, "Okay, you know what? You know your pre-trip inspection. You did your parking, even though I drove very bad. But he said, you know what? I am giving you your driving license. I guess you will learn." Because as I mentioned, one of my posts, my trailer was 53 feet, but I was taking this driving test in St. Petersburg, Florida, which is very narrow roads, and most of the time you take this driving test for 48 feet a trailer. So mine was 53, so I was not able to do the turns, properly, but it was really fun. He was laughing with me, actually.
I
Yeah.
love that because I remember I was reading that, yeah, I think you went during like, there was two unloading times that you went to go do your
Yes,
test. And
yes,
can you explain a little bit more about that?
yes, so we had a meat. We were hauling Tyson meat. So we had two unloadings. We unloaded some of the meat and we had still meat on the trail. And I was joking. I said, you know what? I have a meat. Do you want to make a barbecue? He said, yeah, let's do barbecue. So yeah, it was really fun experience. And then we drove almost all the states and I got to see all around America and it was very fun experience.
How long
Yeah,
did you
and
do
I
that for?
Yes. What?
Yeah, how long did you do that for?
Yeah, I did the 1 year. I drove 1 year, then I had, to take time off to have kids and take care of them.
see, there we go. A hardworking mom.
Yes.
What made you change from wanting to, well, obviously pregnancy would have helped with that, but why did you decide to go into freight agent and not become a freight broker and have like your own agency yourself?
First I did some dispatching because we opened our trucking company and we had 5 trucks and 5 trailers. So from trucking, I went into dispatching and fleet management. I was doing everything about this trucking company, like safety and compliance, hiring drivers, accounting. So I was one person operation. And then I said I was sometimes mad at the rude brokers, and I said, you know what, I'm trying to become a broker. I opened actually my brokerage, but because I didn't have credit score and enough, experience, I said I will start as an agent, and I think that was the best decision I made.
Yeah, it's one of the best things that you can do. And then both Jeff and I, we both know that kind of controlling your own destiny. I
Yes.
know that from in my research that you do a lot of like open deck, over dimensional. How did that find you? Because I know when you mentioned that when you were driving truck, you and your husband, you guys did reefer, right? You're hauling meat. So how do you go from reefer all the way to over dimensional?
Well, in the beginning, I said, okay, I drove reefer. I guess I will start with reefer, but I found it very, very difficult. And yeah, I said I like geometry, and I decided to change my niche, and I really enjoy what I do now.
That is amazing. That is so amazing. So doing overdeck, sorry, overdimensional, it's definitely you've kind of carved out your path here. One thing that I read that Jeff is gonna be a fan of. You don't like cold calling. You're a fan of. I know you took some courses and things like that, but can you share the first story with the customer that you got on LinkedIn?
Yeah, well, my greatest customer actually he found me in LinkedIn, and he became one of my greatest customer because I was trying to be active in LinkedIn, and we are based out of South Carolina. We are actually like 30 minutes away from each other, and he always invites me to visit him every time they hire new shipping manager. So yeah, my first customer, I think that's how I got. And one of my but my first lot that I moved, it was different customer. Yes, I found him in LinkedIn. I DM'd him, I emailed him, and he gave me opportunity. I was first trying to move it with my own brokerage, but I was having hard times, and I told him that I am joining Freight Tech and I would like to get another opportunity, and he gave me a lot, and he paid me $5,000, and I posted it for 4,000. And when the carrier called me, I was so excited. I didn't even let him negotiate. I said, you know what? I will pay you 4,500. Can you do this lot? And he said, yes. I said, yeah. And that's how I started to move freight. So it was very, fun. My first lot was coils. I think it was 3 coils or 2 coils.
With all those coil racks, right?
Yes, with coil racks and tarp and chains.
Yeah. Are you still moving that type of
Yeah,
material?
yes.
Nice.
Sometimes I move it. Yeah, not very often, but yeah.
So tell me quickly, and the audience as well. You're not a fan of cold calling, either am I. I like to uh, exploit my current clients that I have on board because there's nothing better than a good referral and a good recommendation for somebody that you're knocking it out of the park every single day with, right? So
Yeah.
how do you go about finding your clients and increasing your revenue and your pipeline by not making phone calls?
Well, I mostly utilize email marketing and LinkedIn and referrals. Also, I do face-to-face visitation because I live in a good area in Greenville, South Carolina, and we have a lot of manufacturing companies, and also Charlotte, North Carolina is not too far away. So I like to visit and to get to know people and their operation in real life. As far as cold calling, this year I decided to challenge myself and find customers with cold calling. In the beginning, I was a little bit because I got a not American accent, and some people they say that they don't understand me. So I think that was my struggle. But now I feel that I can make them understand what I am trying to say. So
Yeah,
yeah.
for all the women that are out there that are coming into the brokerage area, what is the hardest part about accepting no? Because I'm sure that you get a lot of no's with those cold calls.
Yeah.
Because if you didn't, you'd be a billionaire, right? Because every time you made a phone call, you would get those lanes and move those shipments. So tell the folks out there, from your perspective, what it feels like and how you get over those obstacles of rejection.
Yeah, well, I always tell my people who ask me questions, or I do also one-on-one coaching. I always say that don't expect to get yes in the first conversation, because they have to know they have to have this correct expectation. First conversation, you just call to introduce yourself and to learn more about your customer, and then of course you have to do follow-ups. I always tell them that sales in follow-ups, you will never, almost never, you will get any loads for the first call. So if you if you think in that way, and you treat it like a long term, and then don't accept that you will get a load for the first time, then you will treat it like a game. And that's how I always try to treat the cold calling. And
Love to.
lately, I decided to like do better like warm call when I already connected with these people in LinkedIn, or they are my customers. So now when I call, it is cold call, but not very cold, a little bit warmer phone call. So at least I can mention some referrals, or at least I can mention that we are connected in LinkedIn, and it will not be too cold call.
Let me ask you this real quick. Your clients, how many of them in your pipeline are from referrals and recommendations compared to cold calls?
Well, I don't have anyone, to be honest with you, with cold call referrals. I think I have two or three with referrals. One of them, actually, I went to buy a camper, and it turned out that this guy is a general manager, and one of the companies that they move dump trailers. And he introduced me to his one of the branches shipping manager, and they started to give me dump trailers. It is power only. So that's how I got just going to buy a camper. So it is also very important just to introduce you everywhere you go, that you are a freight broker, and let them know that you are looking for customers, and you will appreciate if they recommend your services, or maybe connect to someone who is doing some shipments. So
Nice.
That is so perfect. That's the one thing that I've kind of fought with, Lida, is letting people know what I do. But
mhm.
I've embraced that. So my wife actually is an RMT, and she's gotten leads for me more than I've done in my own outreach. Just people that she's seen as like patients and things like that. One thing you said a couple minutes ago that really drove home for me that I really appreciate is that when you said that you won't get the customer on the first call. I have a mindset of if a customer or a prospect is willing to give me loads or give me a load sheet or give me what they're working on the first call, they're doing that to the next couple people who are calling before or after. So that's where you get into the numbers game that you don't want to do that. Our topic is empowering women into logistics. I want to get your point of view because I know that Melissa's here. I know she's been a big mentor for you. How
Yeah.
important for you has it been having a woman mentor you who knows a lot in the game to kind of guide you on the path that you're currently on in your life?
Yeah, so with Melissa, we connect because she also has girls, and I do have two girls, and she's a believer, and I am a believer, and there is a lot of connection between me and Melissa. And I think having her on my side, it has been a really blessing, because anytime I have a question, I know that I can ask him, and she is always available, or she can schedule a meeting with me even during the weekends to help me with my questions and resources, because she has more than 20 years of experience, and I have been in logistics like 6 years, and only 2 years in freight brokering. So of course I can learn a lot. And yes, I think that is also very important, that no matter how long you have been in the industry, or no matter what you are doing, you have to always be open to learn and also to teach. So I am, taking Melissa's path. I am teaching because she is not doing one-on-one coaching, and I am trying to, instead of her, I am doing it, because I feel that there is a lot of there are a lot of people who need like one-on-one coach direction, or someone who will always answer your questions. And I try my best to do that. Even after these coaching sessions, they always ask me questions. I might not answer right away, but I am always, getting back to them and try to help them. I think just getting the information from someone who has more experience and passing it by to help others, I think that's it all about, to see other women or other immigrants or other people to succeed and help them.
That's amazing. You're pushing it forward, and that's something that's so commendable, right? Like, there's a lot of people, Jeff, you can agree, right? In this industry, say, hey, we build up this successful business and we just keep it to ourselves and we die with all that knowledge that we've gained. And the one thing I've learned with you and seeing your posts is that you're constantly improving yourself. I think you made a post the other day about patience. That's one of the biggest skills that we can have. And for somebody who's brand new in the industry, we got a lot of people in the audience who I've talked to, Jeff has talked to, and yourself has talked to. They're brand new in the industry and they're losing that little bit of hope. So, what advice would you give to newer women coming to the industry, whether it be from a truck driving aspect, from a freight agent aspect, or something that maybe they want to lead towards being a coach like yourself?
Yes, patience is really important. I have been, when I was doing dispatching, at the same time, I was trying to find customers. And of course, I was busy with dispatching and I was not fully committed to, prospecting. And I also was not getting any money. So one verse that really, helped me, this is, of course, it is not like Christian preaching, but it really helped me that it says, work heartfully for the Lord, not for the man, because everything you will get, all the rewards you will get from him. So we have to be patient. We have to think this as a long game, and we have to treat it like building relationship and building this business, because nothing happens overnight. And it takes a lot of hard work, a lot of patience, a lot of sometimes even crying, because in my first first 5 months, I was just asking God, can I just make $5,000 from freight brokering? That was my prayer, my dream. And in my second month, I made like almost 11,000. So whatever you ask, you always get more, but you have to put the work in, and you have to be patient, and you have to, of course, believe. Also, I have read that believing hard, planning head, brain, and the working hands, all these three, you can get everything with all these three combined. So we have to work, plan, and believe.
I couldn't agree with you more. And when you talk about you mentoring people, you have to have a lot of patience to do that, because there's a lot of newbies out there that are still wet behind the ears, that are entering the industry, that don't know that much, and they don't have those questions that experienced people would have to ask, right? So to have those patience and be able to help mentor them and coach them and develop them into something that they may like, because there's a lot of times that they want to get into it and they just think that it's too complex or something, but helping them to understand the great benefits behind that and what you can gain. Like yourself, you were saying that you only wanted to make $5,000, and in that month you made 11,000. You exceeded your own expectations, and that helps others to understand that as well. Mentors, we had Melissa on the show, and she's highly intelligent, and she has great background and experience in that. How do you mentor people on one-on-one? I mean, you have a great mentor, Melissa. You know how she operates. Do you operate like the same way or method, or do you have your own way in case other women out there want to reach out to you and ask you those questions? How do you go about that?
Well, I just took some notes when I was just starting out, and I remember what are my struggles, and I try to focus on this. Like, for example, I remember I took a course, and it says email the customer. Then I was stuck. I didn't know what I should email, what I should put the subject line, because logistics is very specific.
Yes.
And that's why when I do this coaching, I provide email templates. that people know what is the subject line, what they should write, what articles they should share, what industry news they should share with potential customers or even existing customers. So I just even when I do this coaching, I ask questions and then I know and I take notes what are their struggles, and I try to focus on these things, because if we provide whatever is out there but we are not focusing what is the real struggle, then I think it is not healthy. Also, when I am doing my coaching, I am not, of course, bragging, but I give everything what I can. I am trying to give everything what I can. And if it is needed to stay longer, I stay longer. Or I just try to give as much as possible. The rest is already putting the work and being patient and practicing and implementing whatever we learned. So, yeah.
I love that you said that. We actually got some questions from the audience. Our audience is blowing up today, and actually,
Yes.
what I'm seeing here is that somebody actually questioned, and Nerf is helping that person out. So we're a community here. We want to help everybody, and everything's up there. So I got two questions for you. First one's going to be from loyal viewer Lisa. She mentions here, as a mom, what are some things you do to set and keep boundaries from helping and teaching others, and also being there for your family?
Oh, this is a very hard question. I think yeah, that's how I think, but maybe it is incorrect. But if you want to succeed in business, I think you have to do some sacrifices in the beginning. And my kids, they are little, and of course, I try to take them playground, play with them. But I would say I mostly focus on my business. And then when they grow, I think I will be more stable in my business, and I will have all the fun. I will travel with them. That's what I plan. So yeah. I think it is difficult to keep this balance, but
That's the one thing we kind of hear reoccurring. You got to make that little bit sacrifice, but you know what? You hustle now and you sacrifice now so that you can have those rewards. It's not to get into sports or anything like that, but that's what I like about sports athletes is that they train in the off season. They'll skip the clubs, they'll skip the parties, but they'll be working in the gym. Kobe Bryant is one of the best ones out there to say that, so that he can win a championship in like 8 months or 9 months, right? So when you treat it like that, and Damon, our corporate sponsor, actually has a question for you here. What is your definition of hard work, Lida?
Ooh, that's a good one.
yeah, that's a good one. Good question. Well, I think hard work is that you always try to learn new things on your own, and practicing whatever you learned. Also, of course, in the beginning, when even now, sometimes there are some things that I am trying to figure it out. But when already you figured it out, you have to have some structure or some committed time. Like, let's say you commit to prospect 1 hour a day and you stick to this. Or, of course, logistics is crazy and you might get distracted. But I think hard work is that you are constantly improving and you are constantly learning, and whatever you learn, you put it in practice.
Yes, I totally agree. We've got another comment here and question from Lamar Watts. How many hours do you spend a day working on LinkedIn?
Well, sometimes I hire some lady and she's, DMing the customer. So I provide the template and I provide the industry news and she does it. But for writing a post, honestly, it takes me sometimes a lot of time because, as I mentioned, English is not my first language. I check it with Grammarly. I tried, of course, my best to put a good post, and sometimes when I'm making carousel it might take me 2-3 hours only to make one carousel. So it is a lot of work, especially if I'm not sure how if I am doing it the best, but I am trying as much as best as possible. So yeah, writing a post, it takes for me like 1 hour, 2 hours sometimes.
Yeah, I got another question for you from David. Hi, everyone. Hi, Lydia. Could you please tell us what should we do if a customer is offering no load and after he is telling that it has been covered with another guy? So what should, oh God, what should we do in that case?
Well, in that case, if it is you see that it is a good customer, it happens to me too. I try to next time I try to be like more responsive. I mean, if I like answered in 10 minutes, next time I should answer like right away or in 2 minutes. Also ask for feedback. So why, like not directly why, but just asking. So what was the, how much did you cover? Sometimes I even directly ask the customer, how much did you cover? So I understand maybe my price was not the right, or maybe I was busy with other stuff and I couldn't answer them right away. So asking feedback and trying to understand why he covered it with someone else instead of you. So and trying to next time to do better.
And those are amazing questions. I
Customers,
know.
yes, and customers, I want you everyone to understand that don't think that if they these times they covered with someone else, then he's done with you or you are not together, right? He will give you another opportunity. Honestly, like my customers also, they sometimes give a lot to other people, but that's fine. I am not getting offended, and I always say, okay, I'm glad you covered it. Let me know if you have another one. So
Perfect
just
answer.
make it easy because they will give it more. Don't get offended, don't get sad, or just take it easy. It will come.
Yeah, like I
Exactly.
always say, don't take it to heart. You know, logistics is a very stressful environment, and when you do take that to heart, it affects everything that you do in your business. So you
Yeah.
just have to use it as a learning experience and move on, and figure out who are the customers that you want in your pipeline and the ones that you don't. Which ones are the profitable ones and which aren't. You know, those are the decisions as business owners and agents that you have to make every single day. And it's, you know, it's the same thing that customers do. Do I want to do business with Lida or not? Do I want to call her? What are my other options? And it's all related to service. And if you can knock it out, who are they going to remember? You, because you did your job well.
Yes, and you showed good attitude, because if he covered it with someone else and then now you are with bad attitude, of course he might not give you. But if you are like in a good attitude and in a good mood, and you say, okay, glad you covered it, because of course it is his job to cover it fast too. He needs to cover this lot. So just
I love that. That's perfect. It's one of the things that you show your value. One thing I did early in my career that I didn't like, Lita, was that when a customer would say that they covered a load, I would say, "Okay, what's your price? Can I match it?" And it's like that's what that threw my value outside the window. So we got one more question for you to wrap it up. Where we're enjoying this time here that we're having with you. I want to thank you so much for that. But the last question for you: what do you want your legacy to be in this industry, to your kids, to your family, to the people that you work with, that you mentor, and people that you've worked alongside with after you're all said and done?
sorry, I didn't hear the first part.
Oh, sorry, my apologies. So, what would you like your legacy to be when you leave the freight brokerage game?
Well, I actually want to follow Melissa. So I think Noor also, he's saying that he's giving some tasks to his kids. So
That,
when my kids are still 2 and 4 years old. So when they grow up, of course, I want them to be my company's manager and and to help me, and also they can get all this experience and all. I want honestly, I want everyone to get whatever they want. If they want to make 10,000, let them make it. If they want to make 1 million, let them make it. I want everyone to get whatever they want. I am not competing. I am competing with myself. They say it like that, and I think it is really true, because uh, you have to improve all the time to be better.
I love that. And you're serving, and those things are going to help you tenfold. I think that's extremely important when you want to help somebody get what they get. The universe is going to pay you off, just like with that quote that you gave earlier on today, which was amazing. So, want to thank you so much. The comments are blowing up, so I feel like we need to bring you
Can
back
I
on.
add
Well,
something about the legacy? Because I am also working with, I am creating my first digital course for people outside of the United States, because I want to give this opportunity to them. Also, as I can speak 3 languages, I can train them in different languages. So I think just sharing the knowledge and giving opportunity, because there are other there are a lot of people, like for Armenia, they do double brokering, and I don't like it, and I want to train them to do real brokering, because they already know like 50% of the job, how to cover the loads and everything. They just don't know how to go and prospect. So that is my another goal: people outside of the United States to get into logistics and to work remotely. And it will be great for American brokerages, and it will be great for them too, because American brokerages, they can maybe do a little bit less commission, but at the same time they will make a lot of money for their country. So it will be a win-win situation.
That is so commendable. Where can
Yeah.
people who are watching this for the first time and seeing you on here, how can people get a hold of you? What's your what's the best ways to get a hold of you?
Well, I think that as of right now, I am still trying to grow my other social media platforms, but the best way to reach out in LinkedIn as of right now.
Perfect. So, want to thank you again for coming out this morning. Did you have fun? Did you have fun with us? Is
Oh
this
yeah, and I'm so happy. We had a lot of guests. I'm so happy. I know most of them. Thank you so much, guys, for joining. I'm very excited that you joined, and I hope you got something from this conversation.
Thank you so much. So, if you did
Thanks.
find value in this, which I know you did, like, comments, and subscribe to our channel. We've got the little QR code going on here to support our little channel, our little small business that Jeff and I are running here. And it's really important that we spread these messages to everybody out there. So we will hit the replay again at 2 and 6 p.m. Eastern Time on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Want to thank our corporate sponsor, Daman at Centurion Trucking and American Logistics. If you are a sales agent and you're looking for a move to go for a place where, hey, they put people over profits, hit up Damon and his team, because they are paying people up to 60% GP. That's a big number there. So I want to thank him for coming out. Lida, thank you so much. And Cowboy, take us home, my man.
Yes, thank you so much, Lida, for joining us today. It was very insightful. We had a lot of comments today, that's for sure. And that tells us that you know exactly what you're doing and that you've helped so many people out there. So we appreciate that. And we hope that you'll come back and join us someday because we had a great time with you. And thank you so much again.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy that you invited, and I actually never talked to you, Jeff, and I am happy to know you. I talked to Ryan before once, so I am happy to know you in person, in online person meeting.
Yeah, there you go. Likewise. Likewise.
Yes.
So tomorrow we have a great show for everyone. We have Nicole Glenn, owner and founder of Candor Expedite. It's going to be a great show here on Sales Chatter Live at 11 a.m. daily. So come and join us. Bodacious Cowboy out. Have a great day, folks. See you tomorrow.
Bye. See you.